Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Now we say we using that again. Sorry. Greetings, kings and queens,
gods and goddesses.
Yes,
emperors and empresses. Address yourself differently too.
Yeah.
You know, when we don't done that and word and we don't address yourself as them kind of thing. So yeah, kings and queens, gods and goddesses. Right, blessings.
Welcome back to the Afro-Trini View, boy. So, here we're going on. This week is the beginning of our trilogy. 3 weeks. We're dealing with the 1970 Black Power Revolution
of Trinidad
and Tobago.
Yeah.
Right? We have our elder in the midst, Mr. Sterlin Sandy, right? AKA Electro, AKA Lion, right? One of the baddest electricians you will ever meet. Right? So when all ready for that, don't worry, we'll put the number in the comments. Right? So tonight, Sandy will be giving us our perspective because he was around any time. He grew up close to Kwame, right? Mr. Daga. Right? So I know where you want to start. You want to ask him something first?
Well, you know the usual.
Oh yes, we deal with the sponsors.
Mass by Ogunwumi. Today I wearing one of I will call it visionary pieces.
Right.
1970, the 1970 heroes.
Yeah.
Right. Your pants is by Nubian Experience as well. Right. They were still watches. They have a 25% sale going on right now for Mother's Day.
So Artistry,
just say wow. You know?
Really?
I'm looking forward to this a little while now because he tell me about you. Thing, we talking and he saw the documentary on TV over the weekend after the 21st and he was like, he messaged me, hey, you seen this boy? And we had already been talking about meeting with people and having shows with the people who was involved from the, to use the terminology, the ground level, the grassroots, straight up to institutions, right? So use the first person that come on that. So
from the ground level.
From the ground level.
Roots.
And let me tell you about me, right? There are people I know who can take information from the ground level.
Yeah.
Okay. They think that if you don't have a doctorate or a master's, I think you ain't go to school or you ain't go to that school. You can't think, but you live through it. So the first thing I want to say, I want to tell man how old you was when the 1970 revolution was taking place. And you can start getting well for you. We were seeing leading up to that and what it was like because you was alive during it.
Yes, alright. Well, at the time, as they say, my age at the time was 9. I was 9 years of age at that time. You understand? Because I was born 1961. Right? So 71 and I'll be 10 years.
Right.
So at that time I was 9 years of age. I had 2 brothers in the school, which is Piccadilly School on Piccadilly Street. But we live in Lavanty Road. So we had to come by the corner of Piccadilly Street and Prince Street in order to head home.
Right.
So in the direction where you're coming towards the action. And the action was taking place within, George Street, Nelson Street, Prince Street was one of the hottest streets because at the time of the whole incident, everything stemmed off of Frederick Street into Prince Street, George Street, and then now, the whole aspect grew from what they call it a protest from we black people protesting towards the colonial masters who they own the stores at the time because I believe from my vague knowledge, the whole thing started from the Bata thing. With the Bata shoe stores who were oppressing poor people. And within that, it started movements where poor people started what they call it, protest. So the majority of the time you will see them in front of the Bata store and they will ball, don't buy, pass by, mama guy.
Say that again?
Don't buy, pass
Don't
by.
buy, pass by, mama guy.
Hmm.
That was the slogan
Right.
for the Bata thing, and that grew into momentum. And within the momentum, within well the what you call it, the protests never last no big set of time because it elevate into the struggle one into the struggle one time, so that the workers from the stores and them implicate themselves into the movement one time, and it grew stronger, so that black people had a sense of looking towards something to live for. All right? And at that time now, we used to look at ourselves for guidance within one another. Because we would have looked towards the shoemaker man. We would have looked towards the man who making clothes with the hand. You understand? We would have looked towards we people were doing things in the ghetto. Like as I said, the barber, the shoemaker, the clothes man, the man who pressed it. Because it never no Chinese. It's had a man in the village.
sense of doing face.
Yes, a lady in the village or a man or somebody.
Sewing.
The man who fixing pants, he would have be a sewer. He would have be a ironer. Then he would have a lady now who would have be a washer and an ironer. So she would have take people clothes for thing, and she would wash, starch and iron for people. And everything would have remained in the ghetto. And this is how we start to build ourselves. Within the whole revolution, when the revolution come and we come together so strong that the people who was in charge of us see us as a threat towards them. So they take our people, like for instance, like the man who was the hem of the whole thing was Eric Williams. He was the man who was there from 56. And he is the man who they say take the country into independence. But from, let me say, 56 to 62, right? That transition day, it had certain riots like the water riot and the Red House riot. So within that equation, the people was never comfortable. Because if you could have still come and then now, after all of that, you come and you say you give us independence. And when independence come alright from 62 to 70, how much years is that?
Just 8 years, and that's something I was mentioning, that we don't talk about that everything was supposed to move a certain way after independence, but the Black Power uprising, so sure nothing had changed, was just 8 years
before
after independence.
And then we're alright. So then if the independence was to bring a sort of recognition to our country and to the people of the country, because the country is not a country without a people. Alright? Nice. So they say the independence was to bring a sort of equality and a sort of level playing field to every generation, regardless the creed or race on the planet, and mass of Trinidad and Tobago. And eventually it ended up in such a way where like it never changed from 56 into 62. It comes straight without a curve, without a little bend, and it's reached straight into 70. So when you look at it now from 62 to 70, black people were still on the sideline. They never know black manager in England. They never know black CEO in no private enterprise like we have here today. You understand? Everything belongs to the people and the people family. And the black people is the ones who will come in and do the odd jobs with them no one. And we have to sit down and take that. You understand? Alright. So from 62 to 70, that is where you say 8 years, right? Alright. Within that 8 years, it's supposed to have more than a transition where we as black people should have been elevating to a standard. Alright, nice. It was never there because, as I tell you, we never reach no CEO, we never reach no manager. We always outside by the pavement, hopping and skipping and looking for something to do.
Right.
Alright? So within 70, when 70 come, as my memories get hit me after 70, because I remember going out with my grandfather, it had a bank right there by the I know he used to bank in 2 banks. I used to go with him as a little fella. And them places end up serial places, right? Right now, one of them places up on Park Street there by Rosary School, Republic Bank. There was a bank, Barclays Bank.
Okay, alright.
And the one where KFC is, that was a Chase Manhattan Bank.
Which case?
The KFC on Independence Square.
Yeah, I just see that recently. Yes.
That was a Chase Manhattan Bank. And the one up by Park Street where Republic Hole in there where the head office is, that was Barclays Bank.
Right.
I can remember as a little fella become a grandfather, always had me around him because I wasn't really the first grandson, but I was the first grandson to my mother who he did, one of the daughters who he did really love out of the 2 of them.
Right.
Because he would have been more by my mother most of the time.
Right.
You understand? And I can remember as a little fella going there with him, and I never realized seeing no black people to the front, no time at all. It's until after 1970 is then these things start happening, where black people start to get a little position. And with them coming into the position, they start to single out black people. Because Eric Williams realized black people come together and we pull the Indian people with me. We pull the Indian people with me because we used to live as one people. They never had no discrimination because here was never a thing. And all in a sudden, Eric Williams, after he realized that he never give the people no fair share of the pie, and when we get together and he come and he ball, if this is black power, well, he will have to join it in his way. He never tell you he will better it, or he say he will have to join it in his way. So his way in joining black power was to divide and rule. Because after 1970, my brother, I tell him all as black people, when the revolution lasts, let me say, for about 3 to 4 months. Because within one night of that same revolution as a little fella, which part he was living? Well, we live in Port of Spain in a place called Richardson Lane, East Dry River. My address always 12 Formager Street, 12 Formager Street, Laventille Road, East Dry River, Port of Spain. You understand? Nice. And which part I live in there?
Keep that over, you know. That's how the mic down there. Okay.
Alright. That's how I think in the right here I live in all up to today.
Right.
So I can remember in that same time, in one of my brother, he born that same year, in 1970. He's Dave. My mother was making he. It had some neighbors was right outside there one night because they said the curfew was from 6 to 6.
Right.
Nice. And I can remember one night as a little fella, the day, I think was a Saturday night, the day and the linemen, 3 of them over 300 pounds. You understand? And they have the big in size and in weight.
Right.
You're about 2 by 6.
Police come.
Police, yes. Because it had a policeman was living down in the back of the lane.
Right.
Named Chisel. We used to call him Chisel because he always used to come by my old man and borrow. He would chisel. Right. So we always calling him Chisel. So the van was bringing him in to home. So when they bend the corner by the pipe, nobody recognized was he. So the door right there, and all 3 of them rushed for the door. And your mother waking baby, the neighbor big so, and the other neighbor big so, and all 3 of them rush for the door and they talk about Bacchanal. When the jeep pull up and hold one man, because the policeman didn't like that man. No, he didn't like it, so he lock you up and he leave everybody else. He end up in a case and say, you breaking the curfew. But within the thing, you know, everything is witness and evidence.
Yeah.
And you know, we end up you know.
Right.
Yeah, but just like the Spidey man.
Yeah, he lock him up.
He lock him up. You understand?
So tell me. So this is 1970. Tell me who you hear talk at that young age, if you can remember. Who you hear talk that you could say. I mean, Motisha has some names here. You know, Daga, Cambon, Weeks, Sweet, Nunez, Leonard, Motupe, Springer. I'm actually glad to say
Springer is the guy from San
No.
Fernando.
This is Pearl and two Springer.
And it about San Fernando guy, a kind of Douglas fella, kind of in between. He wasn't pure African. He was from somewhere in San Fernando. They used to keep meetings down by here too. He was a man used to come to Port of Spain. The man I really know much about is Daga, which is Geddes Granger.
Right.
Because which part we was living, when you come out on the main road, you're coming out in front by where his mother living, which part he face Spain on the house.
Right.
You understand? And it's within the mother coming to the shop. Well, I always know him as a young fella coming up, you know, but most of the time he would not be there because most of the time his studies would have taken him away.
Right, because he was going away.
Alright, nice. But when the whole thing started, an old fella, a Mr. named Mr. Nick Collinswood, was living up inside of the alley. He was a man who used to deal, I believe is either he or his brother was a school teacher, but he was a very educated man.
Right.
He is one of the men I see, one of the thickest, three of the thickest, what they call it, encyclopedia in the house. They tell you that, and they had this kind of color red, and they tell you the big like Bible, a man drop one of that and you're short again. Three of the biggest encyclopedia I ever see is by this man, Red, and he tell me where he get that from England, from the people and them. And it's in his yard where everything used to take place in the village.
Right.
And it's right in his yard in Richardson Lane is where the whole organization transferred from.
Right.
And then move on to where it ended up to.
Right.
I can remember as I felt a little boy in the alley day by Mr. Nick. Enough people coming in on the night and on the evening.
Make sure say, when they say enough as in the national, you know. So say it for them, because we have some young audience who don't know now. We mean enough as in we
yes.
As in we slang. We mean
yes.
enough as in our
organization,
rebel, militant African organization, National Union of Freedom Fighters.
Yes, but I wouldn't say it was a revolution, not with arms, but a revolution with your mind.
Yeah.
But you know, because you have to pinpoint the revolution. You can't just say revolution and first thing you say is arms. Just as how they put it down as gorilla. And when they say it's a gorilla, you have arms. And instead of they put you down as a freedom fighter, fighting for your freedom, they put you down as a gorilla. And that is where the whole thing.
I like that definition. I like that breakup.
Yeah, because remember these people was no Doncier people.
Yeah. Something we don't talk about much at all.
And these people is the people who was edified by the state.
The same system that they're fighting against.
And then at the same time, it was a transition coming around the world with this.
Yeah, because you had
the
civil rights movement going on in America. The independence movement was still
with Hugh Newton.
Yeah.
Hugh Newton, Angela Davis. That is she to Jennifer Jones and Angela Jacob. Them is the only two women in Trinidad and Tobago. Jennifer Jones and Angela Jacob is the only two women in Tobago ever stand up for Trinidad and Tobago, and nobody wouldn't recognize them because you know why? Eric Williams and society put them down as
what's it say, gorilla and that kind of.
And there's murderers, and they never come out just so. They come out through the system and realize the system oppressing our people.
All they was doing was standing up.
And that is all they was doing is standing up. And the authorities at the time never recognized our skin. Because if they did recognize we for one little bit, at least they could take it to a different level. But instead of that, they turn it against we and choose to call we dishonest, rebel, vagabonds. And if you look at it, what they did to us is just that we just turning it back. But their own was good, and that's why we rebelling. We is bad. But what they're giving us is not good for us, but we have to take it as good.
They dress it up nice.
No, they ain't even dressing it up nice, because remember, if you had to fight against it, it raw in your face and it hurt in your heart. If it wasn't hurting your heart, you would have been comfortable with it. As it raw in your face, it will hurt your heart, and you will find your mind wouldn't be at ease. So you will always figure a way to get rid of what hurting you. And that is the whole thing about it. It's just a matter for a man to live good, feel good, and be comfortable. Just as any ministers who would sit down in parliament and tell you he's doing something for you, and when you look at it, he only doing for himself, and it's that way it ended back too. Because nothing was never done for us. No, because Karen, come on, your mother and father still fighting, and you know them fighting. You understand? You know your parents fighting because after 1970, as I was telling you, when the revolution go down, nobody, as black people, could not continue doing what we was doing as black people. It was like forbidden fruit, as the Bible would say.
So no afro, no dashiki, no nothing.
You could wear that.
And imagine today, we claim to be an independent republic, right? That the national anthem is state, every creed and race supposed to find an equal place, right?
Harder.
But I can't go for a job interview in a dashiki.
No.
Or a full African suit.
Or afro.
No, but that's how it came to after 1970. Because after 1970, when the revolution goes down, Carl Hudson Phillip, Eric Williams, Randolph Burroughs had the team, and he was the man come to the end, because this, say I saw that then Tony May, he was the last white police commissioner ever happened in Trinidad and Tobago. Now Wesley Whitney bring, because he have a pattern where he come and tell me he following the footstep of the last predecessor, the first predecessor who bring me through this way where we have us to fight against this one who here today. Alright, so then I tell them after Tony May, we never had no other white commissioner in this country. You understand? And Eric Williams with Carl Hudson Phillip sit down and strategize things and plays for black people, and they start to implement it. No black people can wear afro and go on the government bus. You can't have cane in your head and ride on the government bus. You can't have dashiki, you can't wear sapat, you can't wear alpagat, you can't wear nothing pertaining to things to this area that here is an African and it is an African, and you can't wear nothing like afro beard. You can't grow a beard because they say news are black power. You can't. You see like how you did so? In 70, they'd pull you off the bus, trim you and shave you. In 70, they'd pull you off the bus, trim you and shave you. No beard, no afro, no cane,
no locks, nothing.
No nothing.
And then this is the things I just want to ask, like yourself, we just deify people and put them on a pedestal, which is nothing wrong with it, But then when come time now, history is the best teacher, time is the best teacher. When come time now to question certain things, because 51 years later, this is 51 years later, right? We're still facing some of them problems.
Exactly.
But some of the people that we put on this pedestal now, we question them, because you're not the first ever I hear say, in so much words that Eric Williams and them would have smiled and talk that black talk, but there wasn't for black people. Right? You was not the first elder that say that to me with no remorse, with all the conviction in the world. Now, what has happened that some people revere the so-called father of the nation like that, and then a next set of people have him known as you cause real trouble for you set we back real years. Right? And why is it that the majority of people that revere him is either they're in a nice position, they belong to the organization he creates, and the people and them that you would hear saying like what the elder saying, is people and them who on the ground, who fighting, who pushing.
And wouldn't join what he have, because is this what he did? He singled out the weak ones and pull the strong ones out of them. So if you see the weakness and you take out the strength out of it, what will happen? It will collapse. Because if you see the all the pole along the household, but the one in the middle, see that middle pole, like the strong one.
Take it out.
Do and you underline the and that whole building will collapse. And this what the man do. After the man see, alright, when we done do what you have to do with black people, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't wear this, you can't put on that. Things we used to make like alpagat and sapat, you can't wear that. And then this thing we used to make with we hand, or shoemaker making that. Alright. After that now, he get and say with his own mouth that this 1970 will never happen again in Trinidad and Tobago. And they had a faculty in the University of the West Indies with this
Caribbean history.
Not Caribbean history, where the watchdog of the nation this be. Because if you know about it's Tiananmen Square with China and the one in Germany, the majority of the revolution in our country is the start from in the universities, because the universities is the watchdog of our country.
True.
And all went right, and within that, guy here would Angela Jacob, Jennifer Jones, get his Granger. They had this guy I know, Clyde Nunez, Lasana Kwesi, that one or two brothers at the outside. One like tennis calendar, and the same guy I tell you from down south, the kind of double. Yes, right. I can't remember. I think it's Tony something. I ain't sure if it's Tony, but anyhow, I saw that other guy in South, he play a great part in the whole thing too. Fellas like Lasana Kwesi, he was the head of the Emancipation Committee. This next one here, this Clyde Nunez, sometimes I just feel he head rolling behind him, you know. Why? Clyde Nunez failed dread. Because Clyde Nunez and then there's when he come out and talk, when he feel he should talk. And he never really carried the fight like how it's supposed to be. And this next one who saying he's the head of the Emancipation Committee and say he leading black people, he should be shaming himself. Kafak and born.
Why?
I mean,
no, I asking you why.
Kafak and born, from the struggle where we was in, Kafak and born and them never keep the fire alight, because this emancipation thing that they try to think here with black people, there should have been something more like how the people and them have the And you know when that come in, somewhere in 1983 or 80 something, we get emancipation. Emancipation ain't even old as the revolution. And the emancipation should have come right after the revolution. So it should have been about 50 years now, we should have been in that, and it should have been something where we children be looking to, and not a celebration to drink and wine and drunk in tongue. Because imagine you bringing a man called Jonathan Goodluck from Nigeria. He come out here looking like George Bush's son. A big felt that, so he in a big jack. He and everybody in that Shiki in the airport. We fooling myself. And he telling me he coming in my country to talk about black people and tell me about me, because he tell me I'm from Nigeria or wherever apart from Nigeria. And you bring in a man from Nigeria, but yet still when I go in Nigeria, the same black man, I worse than how I is on that is the same thing. It's not no different. And if I go by the white man, even though they might say he like me, I will have a better living once I'm going in accordance to his rule and regulation in his country. I will have a good life. And I live in my own country, I'm going to have all the rules and regulation, and I can have a good life. Because if I work for $20 by the white man, my $20 worth 20 by the white man.
Right.
I work for 20 here by the black man, it worth 10. Because my money could never stretch as how it is in the white man country as in the black man country.
Well, why do you think that?
Because I don't want to talk like, you know, I want to really get the right kind of words to put it together in a proper manner. Yeah. It then what happening is how we just think towards one another.
Right.
Is that what happen? Because you feel if I have a $20 here and I give he 10, and I feel if I give he 10, he might end up with 20 or 30 or $40 and I remain with my same 10. You see that better than me giving nothing before he get. I take the 10, I keep the 10 and I end up without nothing. And then when he get where he get, I look at the take where he have. And if we did come together and he did make something, everybody will have something exclusive.
There's something we just talk about. We just say almost that same thing you're saying there. Slightly different wording, but I agree with you. I will go back and touch on something here. So you was 9 years old, heading to 10 years old in that time, and then you lived through your teen years, your formative years, right after it, when it was still high, but there were still people keeping it up, you know. How that impact your life, let me say from 14, 15, going what's into your 20s, where you're saying, no, here with me today talking about it, how that shaped your life, that event?
Okay, alright. The event shaped my life in such a manner. When I look at it, I have to put myself in a gear and say, if we don't put a proper education, and not by really saying it, no set of passes, because you could have a million passes and they ain't have common sense.
Facts.
Right? So the education is to be able to read right, but the proper common sense to analyze and vary and weigh, you know, that kind of way, because we never weigh nothing. We always take things in a harsh manner and say, oh, you see that, I stroking this you on, and no, you see that, you know, if he's $40 to help him buy 2 battery, a piece of wire, and let me give him something, help him and see how far he can reach with it in the near future. We might have a little engineer in we hand. And then within that whole play now, coming up, I dig well. Education is a key, because the people and them who show we what happened in the 70s, there was nobody who walked off the street and was on the corner.
Right, there was educated people.
So then you
scholars.
So from there now, I started to tell myself as a fella, had to do something with myself and bring myself to order. You understand? Although my mother used to beat me for toys every Christmas. Last Christmas, then I would get mixed, because I would go in the back of the house, take it on and try to put it back together.
Right.
And this day where she will come around and, oh, you always mashing up everything, but she never see.
Yes.
If she did just assist me to try to put it back together, things might have been different. And this is where some of us, I won't say all, some of us parents never take the time out to sit down with our children. And if your son want to go that way, you know it's not bad, but yet still go with him, see how far he can reach, but yet still while you're going with him, you still have your agenda alongside his. So when he look back, he's still seeing the
Mommy or daddy,
and the two thing coming up behind him. So the discipline and the respect will always be there. You understand? And then you know, and within now, as we was growing up, and as I tell you, looking at your life and everything was a different aspect in my life. My life was like, you can't walk down the road and you let Miss Maybe or Miss Hilda or Miss Dora here, you're cussing.
Correct.
If Miss Maybe, Miss Hilda or Miss Dora come on 3 different days, like 3 different cutters.
I live through some of that.
We get
I live through some of that.
So then you don't want that.
And
And then if Miss Dora find you carry on too much and she cut your ass, you can't go and tell her your mother. Because you will get a cut ass, she will bring you back by Miss Dora.
You might get something else there too.
No better than I tell you, you get cut ass home. She will bring you by Miss Dora.
And if she like what she getting,
and go back home and get more cut ass, she will be taken by Miss Dora because she go want to go out and she go want to take in the house.
Blows again.
Everything has to settle right there. So then now this is the discipline we used to be in the hood with we as children. Everybody. Imagine you get up in the morning and you hear the neighbor right there, who you hearing every morning right next door. She and mommy making noise for some pan of water or something in the yard because all of us is neighbors right there. When them done quarrel, you can go around in the back there and see Miss Trails.
And not say good morning.
You're mad?
I do that shit when it's already. I do that.
You're mad, I know your business.
She and my mother fall out.
I think people think.
And that make my mother and my aunt start to talk. Because my aunt blaze me right in the road and then come up the road and tell my mother, you know this boy passed me straight?
Okay. You see?
What?
This is the discipline we used to have.
And that was a real valuable life lesson.
As a little youth man, I get loved by all the old people in the street around my mother's house. All the old people. Miss Mabie, Miss Bertha, Miss Vayo, Miss Chrissy, Miss Novelle. You know what I'm telling you? All these is old women down the 90s, near to the 100s and 80s. When I tell you big old women. And these old women will call me. I will go for pitch oil, water, and these kind of things for these little small errands in the shop for these people. And the 10 cents or my 5 cent shop. But if you get that, you can't go in the shop with that. You have to go home and let your mother know,
how much
Miss Maybe or Miss Chris.
No, give me 5 cents,
And she will say, alright, well, rest that day, we will get that for school. Because 5 cents in the shop long time. 5 trees is what, 15? Alright. 1 cent gain you 3 biscuit. 1 cent gain you 3 sweetie. 1 cent gain you 3 what? 1 cent gain you 3 salt biscuit.
3 cricks.
3 cricks.
Wait.
1 cent. So when you go and buy 5 cents crick, you have 15 dry cricks biscuit to push down your throat. No, because you were going on now. As a youth man, I used to get a cent, my sister a cent. And as we start to grow, we will get 5 cents. When you reach 10 cents. Anytime you hear somebody get 25 cents as a youth man, let me say in the 60s, like 64, 65, anyway, down there you have big money.
Get you.
You get you as a youth man. Normally, now when you get a little bigger, like you come into common entrance, I come to common entrance, let me say in 72. Right, 72. I come to common entrance, and in that time, my mother will give my sister $1 for the 3 of us. So you got 33 cents. You will still try to save 5 cents out of that because the penny bank around the corner. I know, because they carry and they show you these things. And all these little things was a form of getting yourself in an order. Because at the age of 7, they start to pull you, they start to show you how to do things to help yourself. And as a man, my mother always tell me, she boy children mustn't suffer under the hands of no woman. So if you can't able to wash, cook, starch and iron for yourself, is not a man. You must be able to keep yourself clean so you can keep others the same way too. And these is the things where we kick outside the door. Because imagine a 12-year-old girl in a house can't cook a meal.
Man.
And at the age of 12, I did not know how to wash, cook, starch and iron. At the age of 12 as a man, when I reached 15, when my mother come from the market, I cutting up all the meat and seasoning up everything and putting everything together. I killing the chicken in the yard. I the big boy. You understand? I have to show an example. So I can remember my brothers and them went and do something. On a Saturday, my mother would leave all of us in the house, and she would call my sister, and she would say, you in charge. But my sister now, she go next door by the neighbor and them, and my brothers and them walk away, and you can't tell them nothing because my mother tell my sister she in charge. They go and do what they have to do. You know, when my mother comes, she cut my tail two of them. She says, you is the big brother. If you can't keep them home, wait till you're born.
Yeah.
So from there now, I started to dig myself. I say, well, here happening now. If I know I can't put them in a proper gear, better take with myself and isolate myself in such a way so that when anything happened, they will know that I was never a part of that. And anytime they try to implement me, which means you want me to be like them. So which means I'm showing you, you tell me to do this and I will do this. But you tell all of us the same thing, but it's only I out and the crowd will do.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And this is what things, you know, and as we getting bigger, it's about 8 of us in the house. We are going to be showing you here now is the family life and the black people, how everything come together as children, because I remember my grandfather, my grandmother, my aunt, everybody play a part in my life. Because you can't go by Tanty and Tanty hear you thieving people thing and Tanty telling me, boy, come boy, don't mind them. You can't go by Tanty gate, look young Tanty love, you know what you hold, you know what you wipe your butt.
Can't go there.
You go there, well, Tanty husband more dread, and he don't talk. He's a man, he just have to watch. And you don't know, he don't like where you do it. He ain't talking, he just watch you. And you know that, you see that face, you don't know where you look, you see that guy back up that and something different. Yeah, that is how it used to be. And then people used to say, oh, people used to beat people and people. No, I know my mother is a Shelix, yes, she's a Shelix, but the majority of the time, it has a certain watch she will give you.
You know.
Come on, man.
There's a whole conversation already. She just watch you and she doesn't tell you what she meant to do. Just
yeah, it's a whole conversation. You understand? And the whole, the whole aspect of the whole thing, we go down the drain and we never really look back at it because we say, this parents this and that parents that and we parents here that and we never sit up and analyze what we parents do to me, how it make we, if it make we good, if it make we bad, or if it make we in between good no bad.
So the man jump in as they say that, right? In 2019 or 2018, boy. Fully, you know, every year there's have a little remembrance of the 1970. I went up in SWTU and listened to some of the actual people who names on this jersey talk now. And I always remember Elder Winston Sweet talking. And he said that he's one of the more intellectual of the leaders now. Because as you're saying earlier, plenty of them was very well educated by the same system that's fighting against them. And he said that, you know, he said, when you really look at 1970, I don't want to quote it direct, I want to paraphrase it. When you look at it, he said we fail. Why we fail? We fail because of what we do at the time, you know. What we do at the time was successful. But we fail because we analyze it after and see what was working and look to tweak it to go forward and show it wasn't working. We still, I mean, because some of the things you mentioned earlier, because I'm bringing up this because I want you to touch back on them things. We will have somebody from Emancipation, well, the head of the Emancipation Support Committee on this program. Okay. Right? Spoke to her, confirmed, because we have some things very clear. We have a lot of misconceptions. We have a lot of people saying things that they don't know. Right? Because I was one of them.
Yes.
You know, and I just tell them plain, I admitted it at that time, like, yo, I used to burn a real fire on the ESC, Emancipation Support Committee, until I get involved and see that it have things that is doing, have people that work day and night in the Emancipation Support Committee. But we don't know that. So I think one of the failings are the elders from that era is properly documenting and showing we what they're doing. Because that's the word we live in today, you know.
No. I wouldn't say documenting, you know. Yeah, I would say we drop off what we should have been pick up and total all today. Yes, it drop off because we forget what happened. They tend to say that the way the people you put there just now, you use that word just now, like if you drop off. Yeah. We choose to leave it behind. We ain't drop off, we ain't thing. We choose to leave it behind.
But why is that though? Because I only 40 this year, right? And I keep asking people who in the 70s, 60s, 70s now, what happened to you? What went on in 1970 where it was? And half of them just
blank.
They don't say nothing, like they can't talk about it.
It's still taboo.
No, well, 1970, 1990, or 70, 90 can't add up, right? But 70 was a more productive, together, unified movement going forward. From to uplift the Africans in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
But as I tell you, somewhere along the line, the people at the hem of things get certain things and just decide to live and study to
continue the revolution.
To keep it burning, because as I will tell you, I will come back again to No, not Nunez, man. Nunez never get the position because if I feel if Nunez might get a position, he might be able to get some kind of, instead of a small booklet or a little something or something put together so that somebody could still open and read.
And that is what we was talking about in the recap. He called me. Something we talking on the phone, right? An 18-year-old child writing CXC right now that doing Caribbean history. And he has never heard about that 1970 Black World. He's doing CXC as history as a CXC, Caribbean history as a CXC subject. History of the world as a CXC subject, right? So I didn't know it back as I say that now. You know, because we always asking, how come these things not in the books and anything? How come we can turn on the TV at any given time and see this? But we still talking about Christopher Columbus.
Yes.
But even when you YouTube the 1970, they only have it from the police point of view.
Yeah. Because that is what they brainwashed them with.
And that is what it is.
And that is what the point of view they put. Because the point of view they put was never a point of view for an upliftment of a people.
No.
It was a point of view to crash the government. You're fighting against the government.
Right.
And wherever it is, you're fighting against the government.
And nobody seems to have
the idea that what it is the government being.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But look, I tell a man that just no being a car. I say, look, what you coming up? From since then to now, we've been saying down with somebody and saying, wait, this. I say, no, if we take how much years the party in power, you know, if a woman give you 1 year that kind of trouble where they give you for all these years, you know, you can stay with you.
I like the analogy.
There is no study that way thinking like that.
1 year.
Yeah.
All I headache they give me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you go on. You got it for years.
You go running him. I looked at string she up.
But so to ask it like this, right? Today is 2021, 51 years later. Because part of the idea of the show, we don't just want to talk about the problems.
We want to try to see if we can create
formulate
that
a solution
and activate that.
As you, who your life was so heavily influenced by that, right? Throw out a solution. Because we say we solutions
is here we're going on. You see, that's how me and my brethren here, and that's how I get to know you here through my brethren. I could afford to come and knock your door, and once you see me, you know you will let know that love, right? Alright, I go bring an ex-brethren to his house. And when I tell him, I say, see this man, the day he disrespect him, he disrespect me.
Right.
And if he could bring an ex-brethren and all of we could show one another the same respect and the same love. All we take is 50 people. They get 50 people. And up to the other day, I was on the mall riding and I hear the Black Brothers and them talking. I talk about revolution. I didn't know revolution. The whole thing is about ourselves. And the revolution we want, then we put it in my mind. Here we're going on. If you don't look like me, not to say I discriminated. And I don't want it to put the Indians down as if they is the enemy, because they could never be the enemy, because at one time we and them was one.
And that is what I want people to hear.
Yeah, because you see, one of the aspects of it is that
I don't know where this
just like
come from.
Just like how, as you know, saying they wanted to, they did not want to do, they promoted the 1970 revolution as a fight against this government.
Yes.
You know, so a next set of people working behind the scenes to promote. Don't ask me, I can't call no name, but we can see the effects side.
Yes.
Right? Because at that same remembrance Saturday, I went to the 1970, 2018 or 19. You had people talking, and they had beautiful pictures big like that screen, and things showing you the Africans and Indians marching together. And Islam, African and Indian unite, right?
Africans and
but look at the big change in the country.
They have a tune on that thing where a Calypsonian sing some years ago with Africans and Indians. We have united, we have won the battle, some fought human right without segregation or something. Trinidad and Tobago should always be as one. It have a calypso with that, with African, with the same African.
So just like how they're working towards the reason why we have to have this elder here, the reason why you was telling me about the conversations you had with him is because you couldn't find the information that he was talking about readily available, right? Because I had enough from it's the same thing to do to the East Indian population, and then promote that sort of thing. Don't do them African, don't do them black, don't do them nigger. The same way they propagate things against you, they do that now, because I tell them, I'm from Sawa area. I went Sawa Boys Government Primary School.
Right. And you don't see yourself there alone.
But what was I saying? I went to school with Indian people.
That we mean.
But there wasn't Indian people to me.
No.
Yeah, there was your partners.
There was human being like yourself.
There was my partners.
They never had no identity.
Yeah.
Right? I remember
You
going
never
home
see
my
them
them.
different to you.
So you, yeah.
Right? And always
Because you going on, let me tell you something. My best friend in school, one called Donald Singh. Yeah, and one they call Michael Singh. You see the two of them brothers? My Negro brothers and them, not really saying I love them as them, you know. But the love where them brothers have is a much more different love to where my brothers have. Because they will come and share the things genuinely. When my other brothers will come and knowing you, and he will share genuinely, but he will keep the majority for himself. And then fellas and then will come and offer you equally. Because I'm telling you, when I get to know them brothers and them from in school, I would have moved with them more than I move with brothers like me.
But we talk about that on one of the episodes here with Sule.
Yeah.
You know, all these things tie back into something we don't like to talk about, which is slavery. All these things tie back into that now, and it still has certain psychological effects.
You feel as that, boy?
You know what I mean?
No, boy.
Watch me now. We didn't have... Sure, are we saying down here, even 1950 and 1940, 10 and 20 years before you born, we couldn't have these kind of things out in the public. And he said 1970, I talking to an elder, and he telling me he was a driver for Garris Grange, Makanda Lagata. He said, boy, we start our meeting late in the night. Imagine we having a meeting to talk about the betterment of African people. And police looking for you like he's criminal.
But it's the same thing we are telling you about. It's not the police, because remember, the police is not working for themselves.
Of course.
And the police is working for the system. Yeah. And if the system feel that what them giving you is right for you, and you find it is not right for you, and you want to get something more better than that, there is where it come in. That is where the bacchanal start, because everybody telling themselves you unruly, you not behavior, because when they giving you supposed to satisfy with that, but them ain't taking that for them. So this is where the whole, and then the next time the thing too, then you look at it. The black man always a buyout man.
A sell out.
And the black man always a buyout man to your own race. Because all up to today, a black police will watch a black man and kill him with no reason. And when he meet a white man, he will deal with him differently. in Trinidad and Tobago.
We just think that not happening here, but that very rarely.
And this is where the whole thing come back right back to, because 1970 wasn't against no state. 1970 was for people to be living good and be comfortable.
Yeah.
But the state who want to give you what they want to give you, turn it wrong and put it like you trying to take things where we want it, where we ain't supposed to give you. So now they have you down as a hooligan. And wherein that should have been the way where you should have been living. So they should have never been. And it wasn't to say like it was just one place. That was a kind of transaction around the world within 1960, because all them time everybody in the line of black people started to get away at themselves.
Yeah, the independence movement in Africa in the 60s, right? Yeah, the civil rights movement in America.
Within that same
period, 60
right? Time
of we exactly.
Exactly.
And the next something that doesn't say Trinidadians on the whole contribute to all the movements all over the world.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes, and here we're going on to, I'm not cutting across, the greatest teacher, what we have here, what was banned, which is the man who lived and born in Port of Spain, 54 Oxford Street, East Dry River, Port of Spain.
Call the exact address.
I tell you, you have it. I tell you, you have to come and talk to me, you know.
You hear what I'm telling you?
And the ban.
And here we're going on now. They call the village. Eh? They ever look at it. They take the man and they drag him through the dirt. They make him something like, how to call it? Exile. And today he is heading the village. Kwame-Ture. That's what they call the village?
Yeah.
The Kwame-Ture village?
In Lamington?
No, the Emancipation Village.
No, that is Legia Sumawale. The Emancipation Village is always called the Legia Sumawale.
Okay.
Village, right?
Alright.
Right, but from that aspect, today, as we look into wrap it up, right? Where the young people that will be listening and things, you live through it. You see things, you formulate things in your mind, you see things work, you see things didn't work. Tell me something that you feel could work, and we're not there, we have all the love already. I like how you part across that. But we're talking about system-wise, working-wise.
Alright, working-wise, you have to start to get into the school. You have to formulate a program from the ground to deal with, let me say we're dealing with from 5 to 8. We ain't going on 10. When you cross 10, you have to put in a different elevation. So you go get that coming out of the common entrance. So we're dealing with children from 5 to 8. And we're trying to put a order into them way that here happening now. This is a whole aspect no teacher never try, and I always show my little nephew that because he's a teacher he leave and go it. But I tell him, I say, what's going on? I say, you know something? How much students you have in the class? He say about 30 of them. I say, what's going on? Let each one of them bring a sandwich every day, make it a day particular like this, and they must give it to somebody else, and somebody else must, every day they must exchange a sandwich with each other. But he could end up eating his own sandwich, and he don't want to know. But let them make a sandwich for themselves, and when they come with the sandwich, you let them exchange sandwiches with each other, and hear the whole aspect of the opinion within, because remember you're not just bringing it for one day. You're bringing a class together. You're trying, let me say, a 6 months or a 3 months project to see if you can get 30 children to try to live good with one another.
Fellowship.
Yes. So if I come in from home and I know the teacher said bring a sandwich, and I know me and Karen, we bake in with one another, or you know, sandwich, and you might get Karen sandwich, you might get Tommy sandwich, and if Tommy had a love for you, you understand? So then it come like, if you don't love yourself, you go see it in the sandwich. because you can't come and say, oh God, boy, Sterlin, which was nice, boy. When I look at that, take care of it. Take care of it. That's how much it takes to that too. I can't remember that. Boy, that's how much I get from that. Why you wish I could be an next one? You rub in your hand, so. You understand? The tingly taste buds, you make it feel good. You understand? And it let out
that will give
energy.
Because you're experiencing each other
feelings and flavor, because that way we used to do. Normally now my mother would tell me don't bring home nobody. But once my brethren and them want to come, I say, oh, you can't come by the house. You could stay here, I will come out and check care if I may wherever you want, I will bring food. And I go pass around the house and like my brethren and them, and I always stay good in that kind of way. Even though my mother will tell me don't bring home nobody. You can't move so with people like go, still you know everything, you know, we never care about you. Let me walk around and little, you know. They can't come in here. They could settle here. Come back to chew back. Make sure that you know everything there when you're ready to go. If you say I have to wrap up and bring it up now and come and share with them. Because if you go by my key and we can't go down by my key, what I have, we go stay up to the road. We're pulling our corner where nobody will know we did or see me. Because we don't want to carry on for nobody to inform my key mother.
Yeah, that we already.
And it was,
but we still like, man, we still together, we still share, you know, we still.
Yes, and everything. Yes, because I'm telling you, I remember they had the little thing in the school with me. This one will get me, that one will get me.
They like.
When I tell you, when you and he get me, by the time tomorrow,
because they're playing football together, or they might have to walk home together.
Not that alone. The class belongs to your brother, everybody and everybody coming out and in the same direction. So even though if two people get it today, after that is the end of it. It's not that again. And if within the whole play, somebody find that shouldn't happen, that wouldn't go on. Or someone away within the who figure, nah, that should never be. We supposed to be fighting amongst ourselves.
So we had to, basically, we had to do more things together. Especially from the children, from our early age.
And we had to start it from right day. Right day. You understand? And our next thing too, parents and children could be one, but the distance must be the age. You understand? You and your son could sit down and hang out, you could go anyway, but if I come to you, you can't put your son between me and you're pulling a weed and your Sunday and eating so and you playing a Batman song and all in that. Boy.
Children can't be
going on. That's what's going on now. Everybody's friends.
And your son in bareback and he have on a Jordan and a big chain around his neck. And you tell him, boy, your father was a shooter, boy, and he can spell shooter when you reach 15. Because he never take time out to learn nothing. All he used to tell his father is like a life, father is this, father is that, and he teacher trouble, he mother trouble, the doctor no want to take him out, he mother really trouble.
So, as we close up, do more things together. I like that, I like that, especially part of it with the younger children and start to teach them that
community.
That community. Because you know, even if you look at school today is different than when we go to school now. Because even if we might not have a term for it, like how you break it down to this or that, we know when we went success, everybody was together. You know, I like that. Thank you.
Yes, my brother.
I feel lazy last conversation we have.
Because we are fans.
Because it's still more. It's still
plenty.
Still hard thing to do.
And then as I tell you, the whole thing about it, if we leaders, they take one little thing from that 1970 into consideration for the people, we people could have be further than that. Whatever going on now, to end up the whole situation. After 1970, right? Black people decide to hang on to something we never liked them. The Indian people decide to say, you see me, I go move away. Indian people start to go all out of the area and start to do things when a black man come now, he will come and say, boy, see me ain't going and do this now because I find that too hard. I was under slavery, boom, boom. He can come in, do this, do that, do that, boom, boom, boom. And look at them today. Look at them today. They put themselves together. They rise above we. You understand? Although we say we will have things. Yes, we will have things. Because long time when things started come to we in a certain way, we started to take it and misuse it too.
Yes.
Things started to come to me in a certain way because remember when things started rooting, the parents started to get a little more money in their pocket.
Because they start getting jobs.
Things start happening and then now, and then here we're going on now. They come and they put the glamour in the face now. They started telling them, well, going on every Christmas, we got chow the whole house and pulling and you want to go on terms. And when the year come, 15 years you're paying for the same thing. Until 5 dwelling house in that 15 years. And I always used to tell my lady when I are wrong or anybody are wrong, if you want something in a store, you never go and pay for it on terms because the same terms you're paying for it, you could do your same terms for yourself. Because if you work for $50 a week and you could put 10 in our job, whenever you get all that money, the day you get all that money, then the appliance is yours, you know.
That's right.
But then you could go and get it and you could pay for 3 the size of it.
Yeah.
But then you could save the same money, take the same amount of time you're paying for the triple one. And if you save that same money, you could go and buy like go and buy that and something else.
Yes, correct.
And leave them out.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing. This is the next thing we break black people too. Because you bring terms and conditions and nothing to it. And the next thing too?
Convenience.
Convenience. You bring convenience to it.
No.
Yes, with
higher purchase.
Nice. And then instead of you pay the right, let me say no, come on man, no God, all you know is poor people, all you know how it is. If you gain higher purchase, give me something ever going on. You put the new strong neck and the appliance in front of me. Because we catching the uncle and then when we do done pay, come on, when we done pay for the appliance, we can't buy nothing else. We can't buy nothing else.
My first I remember my first TV. I buy one of them company and them, right? My first TV. And I remember I nearly done pay for the TV. I ain't out at the time or nothing, I ain't missing or nothing. And I young, I was 42 now, I was about 21 or 22 at that time. No guidance. I remember them call on work. We are on cell phone. Them call on work, boy. I make it sound like, you know, that I'm comforting. Like going up in there, boy. I never forget going in Sawa and going in the branch, boy. I frightened.
Uneasy.
I frightened because I make it sound.
Yeah, they want nobody take anything, yeah.
King, I don't buy nothing like that again, man.
Nice.
As they say, I save my money. Understand? And I know a lot of people put themselves in real. I do it.
And that is where we people was in the ghetto. I know about that from my surroundings and my knowledge of things. And then I know about where they used to call carrot house, where they say them Indian people living in. But when them people, Indian people throw on the carrot house, the house where you in, you still living in it and they living in a better house than you.
You know about that.
Yeah, but everything about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I look at next thing. We as black people, you will go here and you will get something to happen for you. So God, boy, I wonder if I could carry Tony, boy. Alright, you go down, you carry Tony, and Tony might be going down. Tony might bring somebody else. And that third person might mash up the whole thing. Alright, that Indian will carry 1 Indian, 2 Indian, 3 Indian, 4 Indian, 5 Indian, 6 Indian, and a whole bunch of Indian will be there and you will never hear nothing about that.
And there's what we had a break. You do we understood already, no? That's why you hear saying no, you know, but they won't be. There's what me and Karen after we got break it.
Yes. One put I telling a man yesterday, 50 of us, brother. If 50 of us just get strong, hold strong, and mean where we for, boy, brother. We're not no jokey thing, boy. Because look, I just dig myself when I come here by you, I think it was not you, this African was saying, we had 1,000,001 African, and within all the dealings of the African, you could pick out the righteous African. Africa to see when that boy, that brother different to all the rest. Because if you put on $100 days yours, you put on $100 by next African, you feel it's he own, and he in your place, and he be telling you he find 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where we had to have it.
Yeah. Well, we working on it.
Yeah.
We working on it.
We had to have it real, my brother. When I mean real, we must be able to lay down our life for one another there. And if we can't do that, we can't see it.
I just want to end, we're not even talking to people like you and thing. I just want to make sure I say thanks, boy. Because I feel that it's a real people who, even though they wasn't actively involved, we wouldn't see their face or hear their name mentioned in certain things, they was involved. Because when 1,000 people come in town to protest, the only people name we don't know is the people who on the podium. But them more than likely would not mean nothing if that 1,000 people didn't come. Like yourself. So I just had to say thanks, boy, because them numbers is what caused things to change. Them presence is what caused things to change. Right? And sometimes I know from listening to talking to other elders, it seems very frustrating, like, yo, we waste your time. But I want to try to live my life. No, exactly. That's what I want to tell you. I want to try and live my life in such a way, as I go older, that the elders who are around still could see that they didn't waste their time, and we could make some real tangible changes.
And you around here who think you could say, nah boy, my father wasn't that kind of man.
Right.
You know, however it is, my father would have still take a bread and cut it in 6 and make sure everybody eat that this. And this is why I used to show around my brothers and them I used to work with in a company. You can't come, if 5 of us working here, you can't come with no bowl of food. Sit down and eat. Watch for we, and when we done 1 o'clock, come and tell me you ready. What? You eat nice and yeah, I say, you sure if we can go with you? I say, which one are we? You offer something where I say, let me tell you something. I say, see, when you're working with me, if you come here and you bring a bowl and 5 are we here can eat from it, don't bring it. Better you come and say, look, I have $2. This one go for 3, he go for 3, I go for 1, whoever it is. You go buy 1 sweet drink of bread, a stick of butter or a piece of cheese. And if you get this piece, he go get a piece. If he eat piece of bread, so he go eat. Not you go sit down and eat a whole bowl of food. You can lift up a mountain and you okay if your brother can lift up a half bucket of water.
Yeah, we got that's
why I just tell them, ask anybody if anybody know me and they know Sandy boy. When they walk in with Sandy boy, you can't come and Sandy walk with no sandwich for yourself. Yeah, because you don't know when I go if I walk in with 5 men, when I go home, I go down by thing, I pass in town by Chinook, I buy about 6 wrong bread, I pass I buy tomato, cucumber, all them thing, and I thing, and I go home. And I tell McGill make some sandwich. She say which I say make sandwich. And here we're going on now. First we have this kind of mentality that because you're in charge, you is the boss. And I will come, bring the bag, and I will rest it down there. I say, brethren, I bring sandwiches, right? But the sandwich day, lunchtime, come here, come in now. Which one is yours, Sandy? I say, which one you will give me? I say, because if you make them, you will know which one you make for me. I say, well, if you know you make them, you give me which one you want. Because me feel the one you go give me is better than the one you go take. So me don't know which one you will give me. I bring sandwich all you ask me which one is mine instead of you take one. So which one I will make better for me that it will be like yours.
Love.
That is why I used to work with Nigel Herbert. He could tell you that the fellas and them, they know that. The fellas who will around me still, and we just move like if we still thing, my brother Javon, my boy Ali and them brothers, and then we work together for years, and if they have a problem in the morning, they calling me, especially in the line that we work, because they know if we come here, I can have nothing in that, and I always tell them, if me and he have to get me $5, I better I stay away from him, because if I stay away from him, we will be friends. That we have to come together and have to fight $5, I just tell him, straight out, let me be real, let me be ready. See if you can't feel it here, my brother. You don't feel it at all. You understand, Lion?
So, Lion, African.
Yeah, like
Thank you for coming.
Yes, my
Yeah.
brother.
I feel we go talk again.
Yes,
We go definitely talk again.
yeah, because-
Right, Oli, 1970 for Trinidad and Tobago was a pivotal moment in the history of the country. I want to say world too because you have some people that come out of that is world,
World,
you
yes,
know, world we go
yes,
recognize and
yes.
things, but we can't let it die, and we have to work on living up to some of the ideals of 1970.
For
So,
real.
as me and Karen say when we finish,
Yes.
goodness, only be
Goodness.
safe out there. The man
Goodness.
say,
Yeah,
look out for
goodness.
one another,
Yes.
unity,
Yes.
love. We not
Respect.
talking, we just are trying to live it.
Yeah, respect. And respect
respect.
is the greatest thing
Yeah.
out of all. Because once you give that,
You
okay, how
get it.
mine you got as small as a mustard seed.
Yeah.
You might get it back big as a house bread.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Alright, folks, so we
More
out,
life.
right?
yes, my brother.
We out, right? Next week.
Love and respect kings and queens.
Alright.
Yes.